Since the early days of tabletop role-playing, people have always had an affinity for playing small, cute characters, as far back as the halflings of AD&D to the gnomes, and then fast-forwarding to all of the kobold and goblin appreciation of today. But it's time for all of those short stacks to move aside. I'm sorry to the goblin lovers, the kobold lovers, the gnome lovers, the halfling lovers, everybody who adores these small, adorable ancestries that they've played for decades. Because it's time for the new royalty to step in. Starfinder has a playable ancestry that is a tiny, furry, 6-armed gremlin who, as an adolescent, has an actual alien-style extra mouth coming out of their stomach. Allow me to introduce you to the Skittermander. Skittermanders aren't even new. They were in Starfinder First Edition from 7 years ago, but I think now is the time for these little guys to really take the stage and let people know exactly how quirky and adorable they are. Paizo, I don't know how they did it. They've combined the zest of a gnome with the quirkiness of a goblin with the charm of a hamster. And they put it in space. It's the Skittermander Ancestry Guide, y'all. Sit tight, let's get into it. Skittermanders have often been thought of as the goblins of Starfinder, even though there are goblins in Starfinder, but the comparisons don't just stop because of their size and quirkiness. Their starting abilities are sort of the exact same. 6 hit points, small, 25 speed, boost to charisma and dexterity, plus a free boost, and a flaw to wisdom. These are all the exact same as goblins in PF2. They begin the game knowing the Common and Vesk languages, the two most common languages in the Pact Worlds, as well as a number of bonus languages equal to their intelligence modifier. They have the humanoid and Skittermander traits, low light vision, and the 6-armed ability. This is something we've never seen in Pathfinder to my knowledge, and it's fascinating. Your character has 3 sets of arms, so 6 arms total. However, the way they've balanced this is any character with multiple sets of arms has to have one primary active set of arms. They've actually added an action called Switch Arms. What this means is that your Skittermander can have 3 different rifles in their possession equipped at one time. But you can't just fire them one after the other. If you want to shoot your first rifle and then shoot your second, you're going to have to use an action to swap to the other set of arms carrying that second rifle. I think this is a great way to balance it. It's still a benefit because you don't have to have things, stored and whatnot. And switching arms, I don't believe is a manipulate action, is it? It is not. That is incredibly important to keep in mind. If you want multiple weapons that you don't have to reload, but you don't want to worry about triggering manipulate-based reactions, well, guess what? Your 6-armed character can have 3 different weapons equipped, and switching hands is just an action. It has no traits. This is not triggering reactive strikes. This isn't triggering anything because it doesn't engage with any game mechanic outside of your arms. Fantastic little boost, and they're actually not the only ancestry with multiple sets of arms, but we'll get to those in a few weeks. Also, just for the sake of rules clarity, there is a sentence in here that is a little bit confusing. Quote, "You can wield items only with your active hands." When it talks about wielding an item, it doesn't mean just holding it in your hand. This is not wielding. Wielding is actively using, because earlier in the paragraph it says you can hold up to 6 hands worth of equipment and weapons. So you can almost think of it as, if I have my water bottle here, right now I'm just holding it. I'm not wielding it. But if I switch hands and start using it like a bludgeon, now I'm wielding it. Switch arms again, now I'm just holding it, wielding, holding, wielding. I hope that makes sense. I imagine that will confuse some people, so I wanted to put extra emphasis on it just to clarify it. Skittermanders have 4 different heritages to choose from, starting with the Everwhelp Skittermander, which I guess trigger warning for like a tiny bit of body horror? Whelpling Skittermanders have a second mouth on their stomach that helps them feed. This heritage allows you to keep it as an adult, and it becomes a 1d6 piercing jaws strike. Interestingly, this is a finesse jaws strike, which is usually saved for claws, but I think they just wanted to go with the flavor of the mouth while giving you effectively a claws attack. It's finesse, it's unarmed, and this means that you can make a Skittermander monk who attacks with this. Sorry for the nightmares. The Kadravich, I assume that's how it's pronounced, I don't know. It's dark vision. That's all it is to it. You're paler, your eyes are a different color, you have dark vision. The Scrabbler Skittermander, you are really good at word-based board games. The Scrabbler Skittermander, you have, instead of 6 arms and 2 legs, 4 of each. This means you can only hold items in 4 arms instead of 6, but you do get a climb speed equal to your land speed. That's actually kind of crazy. Most of the time, climb speeds are limited to like 10, 15 feet, but being equal to your land speed is insane. Imagine playing, again, like a Skittermander monk who has a climb speed of like 50 feet. That's awesome. I love the Skitter Raised heritage. I just want to do this word for word because it's adorable. Skitter Raised, you've spent your life as part of a tight-knit community where teamwork makes the dream work and crowds are giant group hugs waiting to happen. I love that flavor so damn much. Starfinder, like I said in other videos, it's just as goofy as it is cool, and it's cute, and it's silly, and I just love it. You also gain the Group Impression skill feat, which allows you to roll diplomacy on multiple people instead of just one, and whenever you use the aid action on an ally, you get +2 to your roll to aid, unless your ally is attempting to use the attack action, and I just think that's really cute. You don't guys shoot them. Have you tried hugs? And they come out swinging with their Ancestry feats. At level 1, we have Clinging Bite. If your last action was a critically successful strike with your stomach mouth, you can immediately use your next action to grapple at the same bonus. Not only that, but this doesn't even increase your multiple attack bonus, which is crazy. I'm noticing Starfinder as a whole is getting a lot more bold in ignoring multiple attack penalty, and I think that's super cool. If you critically hit with your first strike, then your grapple is made at your full bonus. Even if that grapple fails, it doesn't count as a second attack action. Additionally, if the creature is already grabbed, you can use the bonus instead to automatically extend the grapple. That's insane. I'm going back to my monk idea, where if you have a monk who can grab and make them off guard, then on the following turn, that's an even higher chance to critically succeed with your damn stomach mouth and just auto-extend. If you combine this with some attack bonuses and other ways to reduce armor class, you can have someone permanently grabbed while only rolling athletics once. Dauntless is pretty good. +1 circumstance bonus specifically against the Demoralize action, and any successful saving throws against a fear effect are a critical success instead. Again, success to crit success is usually saved for like master proficiency in a save at like level 13 or something, maybe 11. That's great. Fixation is too relatable. Please stop with the relatable feats, Paizo. You gain a lore skill. You gain the additional lore skill feat for that lore, and assurance for that lore. If you're unaware, additional lore is one of the best skill feats in the entire game. You gain a new lore, and then at levels 2, 7, and 15, it automatically increases its proficiency to Expert, Master, and Legendary. This one skill feat is 4 skill bumps, which means this one Ancestry feat is 4 skill bumps, and assurance, which as a reminder is 10 plus your proficiency on that skill. That's fantastic. You're a Skittermander, and I love that it can be any lore. It can be any lore you want. It can be lore ants. And if you ever want to recall knowledge on ants, you can either roll with a huge bonus or take assurance, which is already going to be really good. I love this feat. This feat alone is almost worth taking Adopted Ancestry as a general feat on some characters. Hugmaster is sort of a must-take for any Skittermander that wants to be a grappler, which is kind of unfortunate because Clinging Bite also felt like a must-take for grapplers, but I guess that's only for the stomach mouth. Hugmaster gives you a +1 circumstance to athletic checks to grapple, as well as the Titan Wrestler skill feat right from level 1, which is important because you're a small creature. This means you can grapple anything up to large in size. And because you're so good at hugs, you also get a +1 to your Fortitude DC against being grappled. That's awesome. But there's something to be said about Hyper that I'm not a huge fan of. I'm glad the other feats the Skittermander have at level 1 are so good, because otherwise Hyper would be so uncontested. It's a very complex feat. Stay with me. Your speed increases by 5. No circumstance bonus, no status bonus. This is just increasing your speed, which is so rare in Pathfinder. I think even the Fleet General feat is like a status bonus, right? Oh no, Fleet is also 5. Okay, never mind. Ignore me. The Monk Skittermander is just screaming, Take Fleet, take Hyper, Monk's incredible movement, you're gonna have I think you'll have a 35 or 40 foot move speed by level 3. Which, in Starfinder, is even more important than it is in Pathfinder. Remember, in Pathfinder, I'd say it's like 75-25 for ranged and melee. Starfinder, I think, is gonna be the opposite. If you're playing a melee character, also, I don't know why I keep jumping on Monk. I keep thinking I'm talking about Pathfinder, but can you blame me? All the syntax and organization, it's all the same, and I have 5 years of Pathfinder experience. I'm going to compare it here, and I think it's a fair comparison, but that's awesome. Super speed in Starfinder is going to be even more useful than it is in Pathfinder. And of course, there is an Ancestry lore feat, just like there is in Pathfinder. You become trained in Diplomacy, Society, and you gain additional lore for Skittermander lore, which I already talked about how good additional lore is. And you also learn the Morandoman language, which is apparently the original Skittermander language that was suppressed when they were enslaved. Level 5's Double Draw is really good. For one action, you draw, stow, or swap items twice. If you're playing a Skittermander with multiple one-handed weapons, this is going to be great for just constantly pulling out new ones. Helping Hand is also fantastic. As a free action, once per 10 minutes, you count as having taken the aid action on your last turn, so you can assist an ally. That's great. You still have to explain how, and you still have to roll the check, but you can aid as a free action instead of a normal action once per 10 minutes. That's great. Keep in mind, you still need to spend your reaction to aid. This just gets rid of the need to prepare to aid on your turn, which usually costs an action or two. And Lucky Improviser, again, I'm loving how we're getting more feats just in the grand scheme of the systems that emphasize getting lucky outside of just re-rolling ones. Not only do you get the Untrained Improvisation General feat, which is incredible to have, but you also get Beginner's Luck, which is if you fail a skill check with a skill you're untrained in, you can re-roll it and take the better result. This is, of course, only once per day, because Paizo is still very scared of fortune effects, but I like that we're seeing new ones, and not just new ones, but new situations, new triggers, new uses outside of reroll a 1. Now at level 9, things get really cool with all hands on deck. Once per 10 minutes as a free action, at the beginning of your next turn, all 3 sets of your hands count as active hands. There's gotta be combos with this. Different weapon types that you can use, different items you can activate, like healing potions or something, or whatever the Starfinder equivalent is. There's gotta be a lot of good uses for this that someone smarter than me will work out. But a full turn where you can have 6 active items in your hands, that's amazing. And then at the start of the following turn, you actually get to choose which set remains active. You just get to do this once per encounter. Phenomenal. I'll be real, Hush kind of feels like it comes out of nowhere. For one action, you focus real hard. You recall knowledge with a +2 circumstance bonus. Critical failures become failures, and successes become critical success. That's it. It's good. I don't really know how it screams Skittermander, and you can only do it once per day, but it's good. I was not prepared to read the feat name Secrete Numbing Saliva. Don't make the joke, don't make the joke, don't make the joke, don't make the joke. Once per hour, if your last action was a strike with your stomach mouth, you can inflict a poison on the target. They make a fortitude save against either your class DC or spell DC, whichever one is higher, and follow the poison accordingly. Stage 1 is Clumsy 1, Stage 2 is Clumsy 1 and Suppressed, which is kinda sick. Stage 3 is Clumsy 2 and Suppressed for 1 round. A question I have is, do Clumsy and Suppressed stack for attack penalties? They do. That's insane. Clumsy is a status penalty, Suppressed is a circumstance penalty. So if they're at the max stage of Clumsy 2, Suppressed 1, and they're using ranged weapon attacks, that's a net -3 to their attack rolls. That's crazy. But also at 9th level, Zoomies is insane, and I love that we have a feat named Zoomies. Let's be real, Skittermanders are kind of just cats with guns. You gain the Quickened condition for 4 rounds, and it can only be used to stride. I actually like that it can't be used to step specifically, but oh my gods, you already have hyper as a prerequisite. You have a minimum 30-foot movement speed. That's 30 feet of free movement every single round. I know it's easy to look at this and go, well, it's level 9, of course, but it's an ancestry feat. Ancestry feats are usually like half as good as a class feat. This is crazy. Sure, it's only once per day, and it spends an action to get the zoomies, so it's only a technical benefit for 3 rounds, because your first round you spent an action, and if you want to stride that round you can, but it's like, you know, but that's still phenomenal. A Skittermander that wants to be in good positioning is crazy. Chattermander at level 13, you gain 2nd rank Speak with Animals and 3rd rank Speak with Plants and Translate as innate spells you can cast once per day. I feel like these being once per day is a little bit limiting, especially at level 13, but I guess it does line up with a spellcaster of half your level, so if you were half the level you'd be like level 7, but they can still cast 4th rank spells. I don't know, this seems a little bit weak. I think making Speak with Plants and Animals once per day, but Translate at will would have been cool, but maybe a bit overpowered. Opportunistic Hug. When a creature critically fails their attack against you, you can grapple as a reaction. This is a combat reaction baked into an Ancestry, which is crazy. And Titan Wrestler even applies. Normally you can only grapple medium or smaller creatures. If you have Titan Wrestler, large or smaller, and once you're legendary in athletics, you can do huge or smaller creatures. Don't ask me to paint a picture about how a small Skittermander grapples an elephant, but paint it in your minds. Supersonic Speed, another upgrade to Zoomies, which I'm actually not a big fan of that design, because this is now a feat tree. If you want to get Supersonic Speed, level 1 has to be Hyper, level 9 has to be Zoomies, and level 13 has to be Supersonic Speed. Pathfinder and Starfinder have typically not been built on feat trees, and people have praised Paizo for that, so it's unfortunate to see something like this, but I also get it, because if you want to upgrade an action, you need to have taken that action at a prior level. It's tough for something like Ancestry feats, where you only get 5 the entire game. But if you have the Supersonic Speed feat, every time you use the quickened action from Zoomies to Stride, you become concealed until the start of your next turn, which is just great. That's a 20% chance to dodge any and all targeting abilities. And like most concealment, it can't be used to hide. And finally, level 17 are Capstone feats, all 6? I'm running out of words to say it's cool. I need a dictionary or a thesaurus. For one action, once per day, as long as you aren't holding any items except in your active set of hands. If your next action is an attack roll or skill check, roll it 3 times and take the highest result. This is double advantage. Sure, it's only once per day and it's level 17, but if you've got a big setup, that's kind of insane. And this can be used on spells, by the way. It doesn't say if your next action is an attack roll, it says the next time you roll an attack roll. It doesn't even have to be that turn. Wait a minute. It doesn't even say until the end of this turn or until the start of your next turn. It just says the next time you roll an attack roll. So at the end of one turn, you can activate all 6 with that awkward third action if you have it hanging around, and then on your next turn, you can just like 8th, 9th rank disintegrate with double advantage. That's awesome. This is going to be a must-take on Skittermander spellcasters, and people are going to have a lot of fun with it. And Boundless Energy is another upgrade to Zoomies, though it doesn't require Supersonic Speed, so it's not a 4-feat tree, which is nice, but you might as well take all 4 if you're taking 3 of them. You can now use Zoomies once per hour instead of once per day. I think compared to all 6, that's kind of lame, but if you just want that super speedy Skittermander, that triple S sexy smoking style, it's a good option. And there you go. Skittermanders are crazy. They have a heavy emphasis on going fast, but they've also, I like all the emphasis on their multiple arms. There's a lot of cool ways to build and use a Skittermander, and I love that most of these feats feel very usable. Like they are going to come up every session or 2, which is usually a problem I and a lot of other people have with Ancestry feats. They often feel very, very niche, like they're going to come up once every 4 or 5 sessions. Hello, my voice? Like they're going to come up every 4 or 5 sessions, but these ones, especially some of the grappling ones and the Zoomies ones, they're going to come up almost every combat. I think that's incredible. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll be real, Skittermanders are great. We need more Skittermander love in the world. Everyone who plays Starfinder adores Skittermanders. I am confident making that sweeping statement. And if you don't love Skittermanders, yes you do. If you take nothing from Starfinder except one thing and put it into Pathfinder, take Skittermanders. You won't be disappointed. That's all from me. I hope y'all are enjoying the Starfinder content. I'm really enjoying making it. It's been a lot of fun covering something so brand new, yet familiar at the same time. It appeases those parts of my brains that love the familiar comfort and fear change. So look forward to more. I'm going to be releasing a class guide and an ancestry guide every single week. I hope you're looking forward to them as much as I'm looking forward to making them. And if you're unaware, I do have a second channel, youtube.com/@nonat2, where I'm making gaming content right now, specifically first impressions, game reviews, and a new series called Game DHD. I'll leave a link in the description as well as in the corner of the video. It'd mean the world to me if you went and checked it out. I'm having a blast over there. It's sort of my creative outlet to just do whatever I feel like. But have a wonderful rest of your day. And until next time, Nonat ones.